Hello again, this is Dr. Segarra, and we are now on part 5 of the topic Physiologic Form of the Teeth and the Periodontium. The previous 4 parts of this discussion, we discussed the 5 physiologic tooth forms, and I described and discussed these physiologic tooth forms individually. I hope you have understood it, but now let me show you some clinical examples of those physiologic forms. For example, okay, in this black and white photo, we see an over contoured crown. The over contour comes from making an artificial crown. We call them porcelain or porcelain fused to metal crown, tooth colored crown. As long as it's a restoration, because it's over contoured or the bulges are too much. You see some irritation and redness on the gums just around it. The marginal gingiva is inflamed because of irritation, maybe because of this over-contoured plaque gets deposited easily, and that plaque is the one that irritates the gums. In this case, the tooth number 2-1 and 2-2 are artificial crowns. You can see from the difference in color of these two crowns. And because of that, because of perhaps it's not anatomically correct when it was formed, these artificial crowns, look at the gingiva surrounding these crowns. They're red, means they're inflamed. Some irritation is happening there. Most probably, it's because of an overhanging margins, and that is the one that irritates the gingiva. In this case, as the gums recede, and in this case, I think the flap was opened, exposing the tooth. Those surface irregularities in the root are the ones that irritate the gums and result in deepening of the pocket or the sulcus, and that is what we call a periodontal pocket, and it leads to bone loss. The bone should have been here, but because of that irritation and other things, infection, periodontal pockets, the bone has receded to that level. I mentioned in the in our previous discussions about the interproximal spaces, and as I said, that is normally filled with interdental papilla. If that space, if those interproximal spaces are violated, as you can see here, the fillings, the amalgam filling that was supposed to fill the distal part was overextended down into that area, the interproximal space, and it caused actually the recession of the bone. The bone level should be about here, maybe even higher than that, but in that interproximal space, the bone is much lower because of the irritation of the amalgam, the fillings that went into the interproximal space. First, perhaps it was just initially inflamed by the gingiva. The gingiva was inflamed, causing gingivitis. Later on, it caused bone loss, as you can see from the X-ray. Some restorations can be made of metal. Now, as long as it's anatomically correct, the interproximal contours are correct, where the contact area is correct. In this case, see towards the middle label third, then the gums are healthy. That is for an anatomically correct restoration. How about this? The amalgam is badly placed, badly carved, badly formed. The marginal ridges are almost non-existent. It's not anatomically correct. See, and because of that, there is loss of marginal. It results in poor proximal contact, and the gingiva in between these two fillings are inflamed. Further examination might reveal periodontal pockets and even bone loss. In this area here also, because of bad restorations, it leads to loss of the marginal ridge. That means the gums, they are irritated, and thus the bone uh, is resorbs. Okay, so the inflamed gingiva leads to periodontal pockets, which is and leads to bone loss. Bone loss is not easily seen clinically. It has to be, it is, as we see in the x-rays, there's a level of bone, we can see that. But clinically, it may not be seen because even though there's bone loss, the level of gingiva might still be high. And it is observed initially with a probe, this is a blunt instrument, as you hear, which can be inserted in between the teeth. In health, in a healthy gingiva, it can be between 1 to 3 millimeters deep. But in a deceased gingiva, it can go as deep as 10 millimeters. In this case, maybe it's about 5 millimeters. The probe is able to insert and go inside and find the sulcus deep down. More than 3 millimeters depth, it's already what we call a periodontal pocket, and not anymore just a gingival sulcus. Well, this is a 3-unit porcelain bridge, and it's not anatomically correct. The embouchures here are very small and very narrow, and that they will not be conducive to maintaining the health of the gingiva. The interproximal space here is very small. Here, maybe it's correct. Okay, to preserve the interproximal space in that area. Over here, it's small. This is a 3-unit bridge showing the curvatures, the bulges. Again, if the bulges are correct in its location, at the cervical areas, they will not irritate the gums. If it's under contour or there's no curvature at all, it will irritate the gums. Here, the loss of proximal contact leads to localized periodontitis, meaning inflammation of the periodontal ligament and the gingiva in that area. Proper contacts and proper shaping of the teeth provides for very nice embouchures, and because of that, it will promote health in the mouth, even though the teeth are already, we can say, fake or just artificial because they're just restorations. This is a normal design for a 3-unit bridge. Here, the first premolar is missing, but the tooth is designed, the pontic or the false tooth is designed in such a way that as if it's coming out of the gums, and that's called the emergence profile. Whereas the abutment teeth or the anchor teeth for the bridge, in this case the central incisor and the canine, is shaped in such a way that there is still that cervical bulge, again to protect the gingiva and promote health in the cervical area. At the labial area, it's made of porcelain, but at the lingual area, it's made of metal because it's not seen. It's not in the appearance zone anyway, and the lingual area is shaped differently. The area in the lingual area of the pontic or the false tooth is open so that it can be cleaned more easily. You can see it in the cross section. Okay, and even though it's metal on the lingual, but in the buccal part where it is seen, it looks natural. It's made of porcelain in that area. Although lingually, which is rarely seen, you can see the metal. Other examples of porcelain fused to metal, when in porcelain is placed in areas where they can be seen, and metal in areas where they cannot be seen. Okay, that's how it looks. 3-unit bridge from an occlusal view, a 3-unit bridge of the buccal point of view. Okay, some areas, some bridges are made in such a way that the other molars or other components of the bridge is made of metal if it is not seen in the patient's mouth. Okay, in this case, probing, there shows some bleeding. So we call it bleeding upon probing, indicates some disease or disease condition, pathological condition. The gums are irritated, The gums are see inflamed. They're kind of red, not cherry pink, not coral pink in color, but like cherry red, which is a sign of inflamed gingiva. Now that where is that irritation coming from? Perhaps from poorly adapting margins of the crown. So over here, the bulge is too much. It's over contoured, and because of that, the marginal gingiva is inflamed. See difference in color between this area of healthy gingiva, marginal gingiva, attached mucosa, and the marginal gingiva, which is red and inflamed. As I said, the embouchures has to be restored to promote escapement for food. In this case, the contact is too broad. It's too broad. And because of that, the periodontal health in the interproximal area is not too good. Here we see some radiograph of a tooth, the teeth being just developing. So the first molar erupted already, the second molar erupted. See, there's almost no space, but as it erupts, space may be created to form those triangular areas for we call them interproximal space, if you remember. Okay, it's filled with bone. Okay, and the tooth bud, that's the third molar, still developing underneath. Anyway, some more additional images. Again, it's hard to say. The teeth may be well aligned. In this case, the teeth are not, the first one here on top, the top picture, the teeth are not well aligned, and yet the gums are healthy. Over here, perhaps there's a condition of the enamel, the maybe hypocalcifying enamel or some condition, enamel dysplasia, hypoplasia, and because of that, there's caries all over, and the gums are unhealthy. On the third lower right picture here, see a lot of plaque deposits can be seen. The plaque deposits, if they're too thick already, they are called calculus. They attach tenaciously to the teeth and thus irritating the gums. They contain a lot of bacteria which causes bad breath and a lot of irritation to the gums, causing gingivitis and chronic inflammation of the gums. A healthy smile, wherein the teeth have nice contacts, nice contours, that nothing artificial, they're all natural here. But because of that, the teeth are healthy. Again, um, this is an example of a not too healthy conditions of the teeth. See some plaque deposits over there. Okay, some inflammation perhaps, and caries developing, and teeth getting worn away slowly. That's called calculus, and they cause as they accumulate, they push the gums away, thus receding those gingiva, stripping the gum slowly, and eventually stripping the bone. So after some time, if this condition goes on, the bone surrounding the tooth will be lost. There will be almost no bone supporting it, and soon the teeth will start to move. If it's too much already, then the teeth have to be extracted. So the idea there is to not let these plaque accumulations leading to calculus accumulations continue. They must be removed and prevented from accumulating. Here are some examples of unhealthy mouth, even though the teeth are lined, but they see some of the biotic forms are not fulfilled here. That's why they may be the cause of unhealthiness. Just another picture of a shark. Okay, and in this case, some restorations done before and after to show here in the before picture some space in between the teeth, and after restorations are done, the teeth are more healthy, nice looking, very aesthetically pleasing. That ends the discussion. The end. I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now. In this case of a healthy teeth, you can see them on top. On the bottom, these are artificial teeth. What's wrong with it? Number one, there's no embouchure. There's no embouchure. Also, the contact areas are too wide. And because of that, that's why it looks unnatural and most probably unhealthy. And, well, in that case, that will not last long. So, I hope these examples make us appreciate the five biologic tooth forms. I hope to see you again and hope to you to listen to me in future discussions about other topics in oral anatomy.